Swadika, hello and welcome to ASEAN Challenge, the show to give you the latest headlines, highlights and updates happening around your ASEAN community in two languages, Thai and English on News One. And I'm Rosalyn Tepawan.
And I'm Alyssa สิทธิวงศ์ค่ะขอต้อนรับคุณผู้ชมทุกท่านเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ข่าวสารรอบอาเซียนทั้งภาษาอังกฤษและภาษาไทยค่ะ
And into the first segment of ASEAN Around Us, let's go ahead and talk about a lot of things that have been circulating surrounding our late king, Bhumibol Adulyadej, and his very globally renowned royal patronage projects.
That's right. So as we know, of course, the late king, His Majesty Bhumibol Adulyadej, has created over 4,000 development projects within Thailand itself. But nevertheless, his influence and his development projects not only stayed in Thailand, it also went further on to other countries and in the ASEAN region as well. Today we're looking at the relationship and the initiative projects that His Majesty had done for the Laos people.
Right. His Majesty had forged friendship with Laos since 1950, and so the friendship has continued to be ongoing for several decades. But initially, the first bridge of knowledge, it seems, was created between the Mekong area, Thailand and Laos, dating back December 19th, 1950. So it's a while back now. 66 years have passed since this friendship began.
That's right. So if you've read about the history of His Majesty the King, after his official visits, after being crowned, he didn't leave the country for several years, for I think 27 years altogether. So the last place he went to was Canada in 1967. However, the relationship, of course, Laos and Thailand were even before that. However, after 27 years, finally in 1994, His Majesty the King, Queen Sirikit and Her Royal Highness Princess Sirinthorn traveled to Laos. That was the first location they went to after this 27-year gap.
Right. So Canada first, and then they went to Laos, and so that's quite a big gap. So this was on March 8th and 9th, 1994, when they first visited Laos to once again forge that friendship. And right after that, 1 month later, there was another particular visit to Laos again on the 8th and 9th of April. 1994.
Right. So that was in order to preside over the opening of the Thai-Laos Relations Bridge.
Right.
I believe this is what we're seeing on the TV at the moment now. Anyways, that's the beginning of where all the initiative development projects had begun and how they started to develop not only in Thailand but also move on to Laos as well. So after the visits to Laos, of course, Laos officials, prime ministers began to come to Thailand as well consistently, and one of their main reasons or initiatives in order to come to Thailand was to look at His Royal Highness's
royal projects.
That's right.
His Majesty's royal projects are really very prolific and also very eclectic. They touch on issues such as agriculture, the environment, public health, even occupational promotion, just to name a little more, water resources, communications, public welfare, among many other things. So as we mentioned earlier, several thousand, more than 4,000 royal projects by 1998, already more than 2,100 projects. But a bit more about the bridge, bridging the gap between both countries, connecting areas like Nong Khai in Thailand's northeastern areas over to Vientiane as well. So a whole wide range of connections there, facilitating logistics and of course friendship and travels of authorities between both countries.
Now, as both countries, we can say, have lots of similarities in terms of agriculture, in terms of natural resources. So Laos took this as a good way of using this as an example in order to bring back to their own country. And technology and agriculture was developed, and various projects were also developed in Laos itself. It has been able to advance the lives of the Laotian people because of His Majesty's Royal Initiative projects. And in Laos altogether, there are 10 projects that have been developed from His Majesty the late King's projects from Thailand.
And his initiatives and his geniuses, you could say. His Majesty is known to be very prolific in so many different areas, whether it's science, physics, communications, art even. And here we see a lot of interaction between both countries. And of course, presidents of Laos coming to study His Majesty's Royal Initiative projects like the monkey cheeks, for example, to prevent natural disasters, and just a whole lot more. For example, in 1995, just after Their Majesty's visit to Laos, the following year, the Laos President Nuhuk visited Thailand between February 14th and 19th to really come and observe, adopt, and apply these technologies to their agricultural industry, for example, and a whole lot more.
Now, these initiatives, of course, are not just happening in Laos itself. Other inventions or patents such as the Royal Rainmaking Project is being used in other countries as well to help battle with drought relief. So therefore we can see here just as an example of how His Majesty's royal projects have had influence on other countries, not just improving the livelihood of Thai people, but improving the livelihood of other countries as well.
Right. Taking a look in retrospect, His Majesty really put in so much to develop Thailand to what it is today, and His Majesty's royal initiatives, while also developing Thailand and assisting our agrarian society, and of course also the other spectrum as well, His Majesty's projects were also decades ahead, because while he developed Thailand, he also worked to preserve it as well.
That's right.
And so a lot of these technological advances and also these preservation projects have been adopted all over the world, and we can see that in Laos.
That's right, and so it's no doubt why the Thai people, of course, love and adore King Rama IX.
Yes, indeed. And so here we're seeing a lot of video footage of His Majesty's official trips and meetings with state leaders, and just so much more continuing on. His Majesty had also developed projects to uplift and develop orphanages in Laos as well.
That's right.
They, for example, created a school, the first one in Laos in 2538 Thai years, between the 14th and 19th of February, I believe, or maybe before that. They developed a school for culture.
So this is about 1995, I would say,
yes.
Roughly around there. He takes the time to visit local peoples, not in just Thailand itself, but in Laos as well, as he visited people in 67 districts with this schooling project, as you mentioned.
That's quite an amazing feat indeed, never stopping. Also, Laos developed the first center for development of agriculture. Laos also being quite an agrarian society as well. They adopted the format and applied it in the first center for development of agriculture in Laos, abiding by His Majesty's royal initiatives as well. And definitely quite an amazing feat.
That's right. So this is just an example of some of the amazing achievements and initiatives that His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej has done for people around the ASEAN region, around Thailand, and we can say several countries all over the world.
Right, and still we'll be seeing the carry on and you could say proliferation of more of these projects, as His Majesty had always been so full of ideas.
That's right. Being that said, that was the first part of our ASEAN Challenge program. We'll take a short break and we'll be back soon.
Right, with ASEAN Hot Issue in the next break. So stay tuned for more.
พักกันสักครู่ค่ะ
Welcome back to the program. Into ASEAN Hot Issue, lots of headlines making the news in the past week and so. Starting off with updates concerning Myanmar and the recent crackdown by military forces in Rakhine State.
That's right. So currently there are Rohingya which are in hiding at the moment now in Myanmar after an army crackdown. So a group of Rohingya villagers are hiding after the army had forcibly removed them from a village in a crackdown following attacks on the border security forces.
Right. This follows recent tip-offs from the government justifying the movement by saying that the police in Rakhine are currently fighting a group of roughly 400 insurgents suspected to be linked allegedly linked to Islamic militants overseas. And this minority group, the Rohingya Muslims, have been affected as a result. They have been forced to evacuate from their homes, abandon it with little time to prepare on Sunday. This village of Chi Kang Pin on Sunday had to evacuate 2,000 villagers, giving just enough time for them to grab their basic necessities and run. But fearing for their life, the Rohingyas had gone into hiding, as you mentioned, and are still in hiding as of now.
Now, this crackdown that you had mentioned occurred on the 9th of October, and which caused the lives of 9 police officers. And so after that, of course, on Sunday, October 23rd, that's when the evacuation was occurring there. And this move, of course, had marked the escalation of the violence which had been occurring around the border of Myanmar area.
Right. So ironically, while currently the government is coming across in a peaceful manner, trying to bridge the gaps between minority groups and whatnot, what we're seeing now is an unprecedented escalation of violence, to which a group of Myanmar Rohingya Muslims are in close contact with reporters, string reporters from all around, and are updating on the situation. And we'll keep you posted on developments coming from what's happening in Rakhine State.
ใช่ค่ะมาดูกันในส่วนอาเซียนฮอตอิชชูข่าวแรกค่ะไปที่ประเทศเมียนมากันซึ่งตอนนี้นะคะทางโรฮิงญาก็ได้มีการหลบซ่อนในประเทศเมียนมาด้วยกันค่ะอันนี้ก็เกิดขึ้นหลังจากที่กองทัพเมียนมาได้ส่งทหารจำนวนมากเข้าสู่ในพื้นที่ของมองตอก็นับตั้งแต่มีกลุ่มติดอาวุธที่เชื่อว่าเป็นโรฮิงญาเนี่ยค่ะได้บุกโจมตีฐานประจำการของตำรวจชายแดนหลายจุดเมื่อวันที่9ตุลาคมซึ่งทำให้นายตำรวจเสียชีวิตไป9นายหลังจากนั้นก็เกิดปัญหาตรงนี้ขึ้นมา
ค่ะแล้วทางตำรวจก็สงสัยว่ากลุ่มที่มาโจมตีตำรวจเนี่ยมีส่วนเกี่ยวข้องหรือว่าอะไรที่ connect กับทางชาวไอซิสหรือเปล่าเพราะฉะนั้นก็ไปโจมตีเมืองรักคีนแล้วก็ไล่คนออกจากหมู่บ้านนะคะคีปันพินก็มากกว่า 2,000 คน
Alright, so that's what's going on in Myanmar at the moment. Moving on to some issues over the South China Sea. Of course, that's an issue which has been ongoing for a very long time now. However, there has been some talks from China and the Philippines over the fishing industry in terms of cooperation in the South China Sea.
Right. Presidents of both countries, China and the Philippines, had a recent meeting over the past week to hash out details concerning access to disputed waters in the South China Sea. Currently, they're in talks. China is considering giving Filipino fishermen more rights to fish in the you could say, rich area full of natural resources here, including the Scarborough Shoal and much, much more. This problem had continued to escalate for several years now. It's been since 2012 when the Philippines and China had begun their conflicts, to which the Philippines had recruited outside arbitration from the International Court of Justice, or more specifically, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, to which they rejected in July China's territorial claims, and to which China reverted that and called the ruling null and void. After that entire conflict, what we're seeing is more cooperation now on both sides.
So what they say is that, or according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lu Kang, he said that at present the relationship between China and the Philippines has entered a stage of improvement. Under these circumstances, it is very likely for the two sides to go back to the path of managing differences through negotiation and focusing on cooperation. So this occurred during Duterte's visit to China, and in which China and the Philippines had discussed various issues of conducting fishing cooperation, including fishing industry cooperations in the South China Sea. So what Liu also said is that, he said that what I can tell you is that both sides are in the communication over this issue. So hopefully some issues will be resolved, some not. However, immediately at the moment, over the South China Sea, it's not only about the Philippines, though. There have been overlapping claims in the South China Sea with Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines as well as we know, and Taiwan and Vietnam.
Including other parties wanting to ensure that Beijing does not interfere with any free navigation in this disputed area, in parties such as the United States, Japan, and other powers as well. But ultimately, what's being talked about are conditional traditional accesses to fishing in that area, but issues of territorial claims perhaps have not been discussed as of yet between the Philippines and China. But all in all, we'll keep you updated on the situation as it unfolds.
ใช่ค่ะมาดูในส่วนของข่าวที่2ของ ASEAN Hot Issue ค่ะในส่วนของทะเลจีนใต้ซึ่งตอนนี้ค่ะทางจีนและฟิลิปปินส์ก็ได้มีการเผชิญหน้ากันเพื่อที่จะปรึกษาหารือในการหาแนวทางในส่วนของ South China Sea หรือว่าทะเลจีนใต้นั่นเองค่ะซึ่งทางประธานาธิบดีโรดริโก ดูเตเต้ก็ได้แสดงความเชื่อมั่นว่าฟิลิปปินส์เนี่ยกับจีนสามารถที่จะหาทางคลี่คลายความขัดแย้งระหว่างกันได้ในทะเลจีนใต้
ค่ะแล้วในการพูดคุยขณะนี้นะคะก็มีการตกลงทางเรื่องตกปลากันนะคะแต่ว่ายังไม่ได้มีการตกลงเรื่องความเป็นเจ้าของสถานที่แต่ละที่เพราะฉะนั้นเดี๋ยวเราก็จะติดตามอย่างใกล้ชิดค่ะ
ค่ะ Alright, so moving on, still in the issue of the South China Sea, but in concerns to other countries now, looking at Australia, in which Australia is coming in and has some conversations with Indonesia in order to get involved with the South China Sea issue.
Right, indeed. All around the ASEAN community, we see lots of challenges, not only in the South China Sea disputes involving so many parties all around ASEAN plus friends, but we're also seeing lots of other challenges concerning terrorism and also terror alerts. So Australia, not only also playing a part in assisting talks with the South China Sea issue, they're also holding talks in terms of regional security as well, with both countries, Australia and Indonesia, joining hands to really fight terrorism at this point. Recently, we had a meeting here with Australia's Foreign Minister, Julie Bishop, and Indonesia's top security minister in Jakarta. They're trying to work together to really avert terrorism, maintain peace and stability in the region after a lot of what they call lone wolf assaults, terrorist assaults in their countries.
That's right. So the country has been a spate of arrests and charges against radicalized youth, and more than 100 people have left Australia for Syria to fight alongside Islamic State. In terms of Indonesia, it has been on the heightened alert since a gun and bomb attack rocked the capital Jakarta in January and stamped Islamic State's presence in the region for the first time.
Right.
So at the moment now, authorities across the region have, in the last year, cracked down on Islamic States, attempting to travel to Syria, but an anti-terrorism official has said that Indonesian radicals are traveling to join forces with their counterparts in the Philippines, which is now raising concern about cross-border violence.
Right, and so what we're seeing here is Australia and Indonesia putting their heads together to tackle issues of terrorism, security, and of course also the South China Sea issue, and both countries exchanging dialogue and suggestions on how best to deal with the situation with so much turbulence happening around the region.
So Australia and Indonesia, we can say, have a lot of a history of relations from the past, and so at the moment now, of course, due to the current issues going on, they have to come and talk together and try to work these issues out at the moment. Earlier, Indonesian President Joko Widodo also met with Bishop in Jakarta, and as well is also due to visit Australia next month as well.
Right, and this is a way to really bridge the gap after recent tensions between both countries as well, and you could say hiccups, political hiccups between both countries. So what's happening next is Indonesia's President Joko Widodo, who met Bishop in Jakarta earlier this week, is going to be visiting Australia next month to really detail the bricks and mortars of how they're going to hash out and flesh out the problems and de-escalate whatever tensions and violence had been brewing.
ใช่แล้วค่ะมาดูกันในส่วนของข่าวต่อไปค่ะซึ่งก็เกี่ยวข้องกับทะเลจีนใต้เช่นเดียวกันนะคะแต่คราวนี้เรามาดูกันที่อินโดนีเซียบ้างซึ่งตอนนี้อินโดนีเซียกับประเทศออสเตรเลียก็ได้มาร่วมกันเจรจาถึงแนวทางต่างๆไม่ใช่ว่าแค่ในส่วนของทะเลจีนใต้อย่างเดียวแต่ว่าในด้านของIS เช่นเดียวกันก็มีการพูดคุยกันก็ทั้งสองประเทศก็ได้นั่งเจรจากันว่าจะทำยังไงกันต่อไป
ค่ะแล้วเดือนหน้าก็จะมีการประชุมนะคะเพื่อพูดคุยแล้วก็ตกลงรายละเอียดเกี่ยวกับการข้อตกลงในการทำให้สถานการณ์บางเบาลงนะคะของที่ประเทศออสเตรเลียซึ่งเราก็จะคอยอัปเดตเรื่อยๆนะคะ
Okay, still in Indonesia, but some lighter news updates now about a new, we can say, rock band or record or singers that might be a little bit different from what we're used to, as all of these members of the band are all prisoners.
Right, 8 convicts in Indonesia had gotten together in Bali's prison now to record a new album. It's a rock ballad album filled with songs about the perils of drugs and life behind bars. So these convicts are making good of their time for a good cause, providing entertainment and enjoyment and even moral lessons as well. So they had their first concert debuting on the 29th in Kerobokan prison.
That's right. This band is called Antrabes, which is of, as you mentioned, 8 convicts in Bali, Indonesia, both women and men, in which are serving a variety of sentences between 3 months and 4 years, mostly due to drug crimes. And they hope their album, which is called Time to Change, will inspire others by staying away from narcotics. The band name in Bahasa Indonesia refers to children of iron bars.
Right. Very clever name indeed. There are 2 women making up the team as well. The guitarist, Octave Cecilia, 35, was one of the founding members of the band. They first formed in July this year, but have taken some time to release their first album, and they're there for a series of different crimes. But altogether, they say this band is going to be beneficial to the public.
That's right. So it is a way in which, of course, rehabilitation within the inmates can occur, and helping them get back into society after they had finished their terms in prison, of course, and as well as hopefully we'll be able to have a good influence on society, especially the youth, and staying away from narcotics. They could serve as a good example in a way. Of course, the reason why they're in prison might not be a good example for the youth, but hopefully they'll be able to teach the youth something in terms of how to stay away from narcotics, or it's that it's a bad issue.
Right. Speaking from the heart and really expressing what they learned and
That's
how
right.
they've changed. So as you mentioned, they've been there, all the different members are there for different issues. Like one person, for example, one of their bassists is battling emotional issues and was not able to perform at Saturday's concert. So everyone's there for a different reason, but despite their difficulties, they were able to release even music videos. One of them being called Be Grateful for Your Experiences. There you go. It shows that people learn, people develop, and things that are important, they can pass on their values.
ใช่แล้วค่ะมาดูกันในส่วนข่าวต่อไปค่ะเรายังอยู่ที่อินโดนีเซียกันอยู่แต่ว่าในข่าวนี้จะเกี่ยวกับวงดนตรีซึ่งวงดนตรีนี้ค่ะก็จะมีความแตกต่างจากวงดนตรีทั่วไปเพราะว่าแต่ละคนที่เป็นสมาชิกเนี่ยค่ะก็คือเป็นนักโทษนั่นเองเป็นนักโทษยาเสพติดมีทั้งหญิงแล้วก็ชายรวมทั้งหมด8คนด้วยกันซึ่งวงนี้นะคะก็จะมีชื่อว่า Atrabes แล้วเขาก็เพิ่งมีคอนเสิร์ตแรกของเขาเมื่อวันเสาร์ที่แล้วนั่นเอง
ค่ะก็กลุ่มนี้ได้ฟอร์มตั้งแต่กลางปีนะคะแล้วจากนั้นมาก็พยายามที่จะทำงานเพื่อที่สร้างอัลบั้มแล้วก็มิวสิกวิดีโอเช่นกันนะคะเพื่อที่จะเป็นแรงบันดาลใจให้กับคนหลายๆคนที่เจอปัญหาเหมือนเขาแล้วก็ได้เรียนรู้แล้วก็ได้ศีลธรรมจรรยาบรรณมากจากประสบการณ์นี้ค่ะ
ก็หวังว่าการที่เขาออกมาเป็นแบบคือออกมามีอัลบั้มมีเพลงของตัวเองเนี่ยหนึ่งก็สามารถที่จะทำให้เยาวชนหันมาคือไม่ไปเสพยาเสพติดก็คือห่างไกลยาเสพติดแล้วก็อีกอย่างนึงก็คือสามารถที่จะทำให้เขาสามารถกลับเข้าสู่สังคมได้ง่ายๆขึ้นด้วย
Right, very important lesson to be learned and a lot of morals as well to pick up from that. Meanwhile, let's head over to see what's happening in Singapore now with some new developments concerning an 8.8-kilometer long network of cycling paths completing a park.
That's right. This is actually considered as the 7th cycling area in Singapore itself. So they've been developing various routes allowing for cyclists, for people who want to travel around, and of course whether it's tourism or to travel with more environmentally friendly measures to be able to travel around. So this one here is in Punggol in the Singapore, and it actually finished earlier than expected, than its schedule.
Right. All around ASEAN, there's a big trend, a cycling trend.
Of course.
We saw that earlier in Thailand as well with a bike for dad trend.
Yes.
And in Singapore, they're adopting a similar kind of trend here that you see. Back to basics, creating huge cycling opportunities for cyclists here. As you mentioned, lots of residents have been connected by these bike lanes, like the new Waterway Point Mall and the Safra Punggol. These huge connections and paths where people can join in from wherever.
That's right. So this path was completed and launched on Sunday, October 30th, which is earlier than scheduled because they were scheduled to complete in the first quarter of next year. Now, this bike path here not only serves as let's say, a tourism route for people to be able to connect onto various locations, whether it's entertainment, touristic locations, parks, shopping malls, and so forth, but it also is an attempt to be, of course, part of the government's plan to promote greener ways of traveling and to have a car-light Singapore.
Right, but all in all, with more and more cyclists hitting the road, it's also important for people to really work together to make sure the cyclists bike safely.
Of course.
And also the commuters are also not affected by perhaps lone bikers and whatnot. So the infrastructure is also quite important for cycling. That's something that the Singaporean government is currently working on as well, working together with pedestrians, cyclists, and other commuters.
That's right. So as we can see here, this is probably the cycling lane that we're talking about here, the 7th cycling town of Singapore. Now, Singapore is a small area, but it already has 7 towns, which is cycling towns. So I believe that this might be a good example for various other countries to look at in order to build their own cycling paths, as we know that Bangkok and other parts of Thailand are also trying to build this cycling routes, promoting more greener ways of travel. So maybe this could be a good example for them.
Yes, indeed, with especially many towns, or rather cities in ASEAN being very congested, perhaps a car light campaign with cycling is the solution to go. And perhaps we'll be seeing more and more of these trends proliferating around different parts of ASEAN as we go.
That's right. อย่างที่เราเห็นกันตอนนี้ค่ะนี่คือประเทศสิงคโปร์ซึ่งที่เราเห็นกันตรงนี้ก็คือจะเป็นที่สำหรับจักรยานนั่นเองซึ่งเป็นความยาวเนี่ย 8.8 กิโลเมตรเลยทีเดียวเพื่ออำนวยความสะดวกในการเดินทางแล้วก็สามารถที่จะเป็นการท่องเที่ยวอย่างหนึ่งก็ได้หรือว่าเป็นการโปรโมทวิธีการเดินทางแบบไม่ environmentally friendly
ค่ะดูแลสิ่งแวดล้อมแล้วก็จะเป็นเทรนด์ที่เราเห็นทั่วอาเซียนเลยนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นประเทศไทยแล้วก็ตอนนี้ก็ประเทศสิงคโปร์นะคะซึ่งพยายามที่จะรณรงค์ให้ใช้จักรยานเพื่อสุขภาพด้วยนะคะเช่นกันมากขึ้น
เส้นทางนี้นะคะก็จะอยู่ในเมืองพังกอนะคะของสิงคโปร์ซึ่งถือว่าเป็นเมืองที่ 7 ของสิงคโปร์แล้วที่ได้จัดเส้นทางจักรยานซึ่งก็จะมีการเชื่อมต่อจุดต่างๆที่สำคัญในตัวเมืองนี้นะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นสถานที่สำคัญสถานที่ท่องเที่ยวเป็นช้อปปิ้งหรือว่าจะเป็นสวนสาธารณะต่างๆคนก็สามารถที่จะเดินทางได้ 8.8 กิโลนี่ก็ถือว่ายาวเหมือนกัน
ใช่ค่ะทีนี้รัฐบาลก็กำลังจัดสรรรายละเอียดนะคะว่าความปลอดภัยนี่ควรที่จะปฏิบัติยังไงสำหรับคนขี่จักรยานนะคะ
ในประเทศไทยของเราเองก็มีเส้นทางจักรยานเช่นเดียวกันก็อาจจะดูเป็นตัวอย่างได้ว่าเนี่ยควรจะไปทำแบบนี้ต่อไป
ใช่ค่ะ We'll keep you posted on more trends coming from all over ASEAN but it's time for a short break now let's take a short one when we come back ASEAN calendar ahead stay tuned Welcome back to the program. Into ASEAN calendar, 2 important events are marking the calendars in the Philippines and Cambodia, whether it's All Saints Day in the Philippines and also Cambodian Independence Day.
ใช่แล้วค่ะกลับเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ค่ะในช่วงนี้ ASEAN Calendar เราจะไปดูในส่วนของอีเวนต์ต่างๆที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นในอาเซียนซึ่งในสัปดาห์นี้ค่ะเราจะนำเสนออีเวนต์ที่เกิดขึ้นที่อินโดนีเซียและแคนเบเดียด้วยค่ะ
Let's check it out.
The 1st of November 2016, All Saints Day in the Philippines. All Saints Day is celebrated on the 1st and 2nd day of November every year. In the Philippines, this holiday is often referred to as Unandas. It is also sometimes referred to as Ara Ing Magapate, which is translated to Day of the Dead. All Saints Day is an important day in many Catholic countries, as the Philippines is the world's 3rd largest Catholic country. The country celebrates it with gusto. Traditionally, All Saints' Day marks a Roman Catholic day that celebrates saints who were not awarded their own feast days. It also marks a celebration of the lives of the deceased. But Catholicism is not inheritant of Filipino culture until it was delivered to them in the 16th century. During this period, Spanish missionaries traveled to the Philippines to share their faith with the people of Asia. Part of their faith included the celebration of All Saints' Day. This is why the celebration of this holiday in the Philippines is so similar to the traditional Spanish celebration of the festival. The Philippines was not the only country to be touched by the Spanish version of Roman Catholic. People experienced similar Spanish traditions in the former Spanish colonies like Mexico, Argentina, and other areas of Central and South America. All Saints' Day in the Philippines is celebrated similarly to the way the holiday is marked in countries like Mexico. On November 1st each year, people flock to their family plots in cemeteries across the country to enjoy a vivacious day of festivals and celebration. However, Filipinos do celebrate this holiday with their own cultural twist. People will often gather together as a family for this celebration. They also use this holiday to hold a family reunion, where groups of extended family gather together. The day is filled with music and food. There is also prayer and religious traditions. At the end of the day, people will often camp overnight in the cemetery to pay their respects to their dead relatives. Visitors remark that Filipinos are remarkably at home among their dead ancestors. Filipinos are known to have great respect for their dead. To prepare for Undas, families will visit the graves of their ancestors before the holiday to clean up the area and perform maintenance. During the holiday, people will decorate the graves with flowers and candles. The cemeteries will come alive during this period. In addition to these traditions, the Catholic traditions are also observed. Many cemeteries will hold a special Mass during the day. The rest of the day is often marked by periods of prayer and recitation of the Litany of Dead. This holiday is a mix of observance of the dead and a joyful holiday. Families bring plenty of food and drink for their dead relatives. Some believe that the deceased are taking part in the feast alongside the living. While most bring food directly to the cemetery, other families will also leave food at home on altars for any relatives who aren't buried in the cemetery. The importance of food is a paramount to this holiday in the Philippines. The tradition is a part of the greater Christian tradition of feasting. They remember stories from the Bible about the joyous and enlightening times that Jesus would break bread with his disciples and followers. However, they also enjoy bonding at this time to get closer to their living relatives. Some of the secular activities that are common on this holiday includes games, singing, and dancing. Cemeteries in the Philippines are different from European cemeteries. Instead of rows of organized plots, the traditional Filipino cemetery will include mausoleums of people buried above the ground. These plots are all of different sizes. This creates a less somber and more eccentric atmosphere, which contributes to the party feeling that people experience during this time. The Philippines is the largest Christian country in Asia. As a result, much of the country shuts down over these 2 days. Offices and schools both close during this period. However, it is not a paid holiday. People simply do not go to work or claim holiday pay to celebrate this special day. November 2016, Cambodian Independence Day. This national holiday is celebrated on the 9th of November each year. If the 9th of November falls on a weekday, the following workday will be a holiday. The holiday is established to celebrate the anniversary of Cambodia's independence from France on the 9th of November 1953 and is Cambodia's national holiday. The history of Cambodian Independence Day. The region of Cambodia became an area of influence under the rule of Angkorian era from the 8th century. By the 15th century, the influence of Khmer waned and the kingdom was subjected to control by the Spanish and Portuguese. With the arrival of the French in 1863, Cambodia became a protectorate of France and a virtual colony by the 20th century. In 1941, the French installed Prince Sihanouk on the Cambodian throne. Having sensed that the French influence was affected by World War II, with the support of the Japanese, Sihanouk declared independence from France in March 1945. Following the defeat of Japan, France regained control of the region, but the move had sparked a desire for independence. By July 1953, France had stated that it was ready to grant full independence to Cambodia, and on the 9th of November 1953, full independence was achieved. King Norodom Sihanouk went on to rule Cambodia for the next 15 years before he was overthrown by a military coup. How is Cambodia Independence Day celebrated? Cambodian Independence Day is celebrated with festivals, parades, and firework displays across Cambodia. The main celebrations are held in Phnom Penh, beginning with a formal ceremony at the Independence Monument, which is situated at the junction of the pre-Norodom and pre-Sihanouk boulevards. This is followed by a gala parade featuring colorful floats and marching bands in front of the royal palace. In the evening, the royal palace and other buildings are illuminated and a huge fireworks display takes place near the riverbanks of the royal palace.
Those were the highlights marking the Philippines and Cambodia. With that, let's take another short break. When we come back, ASEAN interview ahead.
ค่ะพักกันสักครู่ค่ะ
Welcome back to the program. In ASEAN interview now, we take a closer look at new reports coming out concerning the missing Malaysian Airlines MH370. New analyses coming out to shed light onto the missing plane.
ใช่แล้วค่ะกลับเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ซึ่งในช่วงนี้ค่ะ ASEAN Interview เราจะไปพูดคุยเกี่ยวกับประเด็นเกี่ยวกับ Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 กันค่ะ
Let's check it out. A new report into missing Malaysian Airlines MH370 says an additional analysis of satellite communications from the aircraft was consistent with it being in high alert and increasing rate of descent when it vanished. The report by the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, or ATSB, which is leading the search for MH370, said additional analysis of wing flap debris found the aircraft was not configured for a landing.
Malaysia Airlines confirmed that this flight MH370 lost contact with Subang Air Traffic Control at 2:40 a.m. this morning.
Both pieces of information support the agency's long-held view that an unpiloted MH370 descended rapidly after running out of fuel with no human intervention. The 28-page report released on Wednesday containing new end-of-flight and drift simulations coincides with the start of a 3-day meeting of international experts to develop potential plans to continue the search for MH370. Flight MH370, carrying 239 passengers and crew, disappeared on March 8, 2014, en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. A wing part, known as a flaperon, washed up on the French island of Reunion in July 2015.
Let's go! 不是需要知道飞机在哪里，我们不是需要每天有人照顾我们，我们已经受不了了，你知道吗？
Estimation of a workforce of approximately 14,000 represents a net reduction of 6,000 staff or a net reduction of 30% from the approximately 20,000 current staff in OCO. Okay, I really got to go. Thank you.
It is therefore with deep sadness and regret that I must inform you that according to this new data, flight MH370 ended in the southern Indian Ocean.
Investigators believe that someone may have deliberately switched off the aircraft's transponder, diverted it off course, and deliberately crashed it into the sea. An underwater search operation for the aircraft, which disappeared 2 years ago, is underway, spanning 120,000 square kilometers of the southern Indian Ocean. According to Malaysian state news agency Bernama, Transport Minister Liao Chonglai said the meeting would focus on what to do once the search of the designated area is complete. The search, which was originally scheduled to end in June, had been hampered by bad weather and will resume in October, he said. The Australian Transport Safety Bureau had previously said the three countries had agreed not to extend the search beyond 120,000 square kilometers. And that wraps up ASEAN Challenge this week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again very soon next week. For now, สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ